2, 3, 4.
Hello and welcome to the NESN Soccer Show. I'm Mark, you're Marcus. Happy New Year, Marcus.
Thank you, Mark. Happy New Year to you too.
You came in today and you're a little down about all the snow it's been dumped on us.
Just got a foot and a half.
It's rough.
In a day.
It's no good, but did you have a good New Year?
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Any New Year's resolutions?
Not a single one. Just trying to do a little better than 2017.
My New Year's resolution is for this show to be in existence in 2019.
I think we can do that.
I think so too. I don't see why not.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of New Year's resolutions in the soccer world for a lot of different people. Let's start with the U.S. Soccer Federation. They got a lot going on. Of course, won't be participating in the World Cup, but they'll be electing a new president.
Yep.
A lot of young players coming up. But with this presidential election, what are you hoping to see out of the election? And maybe say, because we've talked about all the different candidates and how it's hard to decide on one. Maybe do you have like a 100-day plan of what you hope to see happen as the new president's elected?
No. I don't make New Year's resolutions for myself, but I'm perfectly happy making them for other people and organizations.
That's definitely fair.
So yeah, I mean, I guess my main New Year's resolution for the U.S. Soccer Federation would be to elect somebody as a president who will run the national teams as a sport, and not as a business.
Right.
Sure, you can be profitable, and we want the national team programs to be profitable, but run them with the goal of sporting excellence in mind, rather than making as much money as you can. Because sometimes I'm not quite sure what the what the point of it all is.
Right. Well, I mean, we have talked about all the candidates and how many there are. As we draw closer and closer, is there anybody you see that?
No.
No.
I know what you're going to ask. As somebody who I would choose as a favorite, every time you've asked me on this show, I'm like, no, I don't have one. And the calendar year has changed. I still don't have one.
Yeah.
I also don't have a vote, so.
Well, technically, fans make up like a 1% vote of something for president. There's like one fan vote that's like a collection of, but it's essentially, it doesn't matter.
All right. Well, I do have a vote then.
Yeah, but this is just another complicated layer of the election process, which is also seems to be so complicated so that it can be corrupt if it ever needs to be.
Right.
But there's a lot of business end people, a lot of soccer end people. I also don't have a favorite in mind either. I think kind of the same thing. Run it as a sport, as a team, as a franchise, and winning is always going to be followed by profits anyway.
Sure.
And there's no better way to capture, interests of Americans than to win, and that's going to be the best business strategy out there. Now, talking about winning, U.S. men's national team. I have some resolutions for the men's national team.
All right.
First, the veterans. They need to go. Landon Donovan had his send-off game,
Yeah.
and everybody cheered for him. Landon Donovan was a hero of U.S. soccer. I'm not saying that this never could have happened on his watch. Of course, it didn't happen on his watch of not making the World Cup. But there should be no sort of send-off for Michael Bradley or Clint Dempsey or Tim Howard. I understand that they devoted their lives to the U.S. national team, but they lost, and now their time is done. It's time to move on. We need to start and play and give significant minutes to all the young talent in U.S. soccer. And we know about Christian Pulisic and DeAndre Yedlin and Paul Areola, but I'm talking about even a little bit younger than them, Cameron Carter-Vickers, all the young players coming up, Weston McKennie. I want to see them, and the resolution is to see them play significant minutes in basically every international game that's played throughout the calendar year. So that when 2019 rolls around and when World Cup qualifying rolls around, we aren't surprised to see any of these names in the lineup.
Mark, I couldn't disagree with you more.
Oh.
until these players prove that they are better than your Michael Bradleys, your Tim Howards, your Clint Dempseys, I don't want them anywhere near the national team, because I'm tired of players getting handed caps and appearances just to maybe develop themselves, or develop them on the international stage. These guys should be foaming at the mouth to get a chance to play for the national team.
Right. And
if they have to wait 1, 2, 3, 7 years, take a guy like Kellen Rowe, who we had on the show way back in 2017. You could tell how much playing on the national team meant to him.
Yeah.
Because he was a highly touted young player who had to wait 6 or 7 years to get his shot. And by the time he got on the field and played with the national team, he did pretty well.
Right.
So yeah, I don't say don't put the veterans out to pasture yet, because you don't want somebody that
doesn't deserve it.
You have to get there on merit.
That's a good point.
You need to take Tim Howard's spot. You need to take Clint Dempsey's spot. Take Michael Bradley's spot. Can't have it given to him.
Okay, I don't disagree with what you said. In this, I guess my passion got the best of me there.
That's okay.
But
that's what I'm here. I'm a moderating force for your.
I think it's easy. I think we can agree that they should have been. Their spots should have been taken by now. At least Clint Dempsey, with how old he is, and Tim Howard is pretty old as well. Although goalie is a different story. But I guess then my resolution switches. I'll do a little pivot from the men's national team to those individual players. Their resolution is to earn a spot on the national team, say for the friendly versus France on June 9th, which is France going to the World Cup and tuning up against sort of the best teams not to make it. They're also going to play Italy.
Right.
I think to earn your way into that match, it should be on every single one of the sort of U23 players' minds. Knowing that I think it is somewhere in between, where the people in charge are going to be looking for the replacements of Michael Bradley and Clint Dempsey, and who's going to be. Is it going to be the highly touted players that we've talked about and heard about, or is it going to be somebody else that comes along? And I would I think it's a no-brainer. Like Weston McKennie is going to be in that team.
Yeah.
But I'm just very interested to also see the roster and sort of the age range that we come up with, not just on January 28th when U.S. plays Bosnia, and then June 9th when they play France, but any friendlies later in the year, just the totality of the year, how much do young players play? Yeah.
I have a resolution for the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah.
Don't play any games in March.
Yeah.
There's a FIFA window in March. I think it runs between like the 17th and the 20-something. If they don't have a coach in place by then, maybe they might hire a coach after the election on February 10th.
Yeah.
Whoever they bring in won't have time to really formulate a sporting plan for the team.
Yeah.
What's it worth? What do you get out of it except for one more game? The year 2018, USA doesn't really have any big tournaments to play in.
Right.
There's a big one going on in Russia. USA won't be there. Yeah, just sit out. Don't play a game in March, and don't play. I don't want to say any meaningless friendlies, but just because there's a FIFA window doesn't mean you have to play.
Right.
Especially in this year where everything is supposedly being rebuilt from a sporting perspective.
Well, then what do you think about the January 28th matchup? Like, do you think that game shouldn't be played as well?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I mean, I almost won't be watching out of like sort of protest almost. But let's move on to the women's national team. They've got two big youth tournaments in the U20 and U17 World Cups. I guess the resolution is to win it, both tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my resolution as well. The U.S. women are playing in the senior women's team is playing in an increasingly competitive landscape where they used to walk into tournaments and win just by the
Like
strength of-
semifinals was like the first match almost.
Right. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
I think, the women's soccer at the elite international level is, it's gotten more competitive. There are more teams that can knock each other off, and it's not just USA and Germany or USA and Japan. It's a number of great teams. But for the younger, for the under 17s and the under 20s, they're walking into, if they progress to the senior national team, they've got big shoes to fill. And, they're walking into a team that's the defending world champions.
Some legendary players.
Legendary players. So their resolutions have to be to uphold that standard, even though it's getting increasingly difficult. U.S. under 17 women, under 20 women should win their World Cups later this year.
All right. And in the MLS, 2017, I would say, was a pretty good year for MLS. Adding Atlanta United, who kind of took MLS by storm. They bring on another team in a bigger market in LAFC.
Right.
My resolution for MLS and for LAFC is to have the same impact on MLS that Atlanta United did. Equal it, if not go beyond it. Now, their stadium's a little smaller, but they can just capture the LA market, and now you've got LAFC and the Galaxy out there. I think it's doable. I think there's no reason. The stadium location is great, very convenient for fans to get to. By impact, I mean sell out every home game, which I don't think should be that hard to do. What do you think?
No. My resolution for LAFC, beat the LA Galaxy on and off the field. LA Galaxy are still one of the marquee franchises in MLS. And if LAFC comes in, they want to do things a little differently and have a bigger impact in the LA market. If they want to do that, they have to beat the Galaxy on the field. Now the Galaxy, I don't think they made the playoffs last year. They're really on their knees. They're entering 2018. They're, fired their coach partway through the year. Siggy Schmidt's back there. They're there for the taking. So LAFC, beat the Galaxy on the field, and then off the field, get your sponsorships, get maybe a TV contract or something, and sell out every game.
Right. And back to Atlanta. I don't think this is easier said than done to maintain their momentum into year 2 in Atlanta. They've obviously become very popular. Selling 50,000 plus tickets to multiple games, selling out the same arena or stadium that the Atlanta Falcons play in. But I think a lot of that could have been due to brand new team. You finally have soccer in this city. The stadium as well being sort of the premier stadium in the United States and sort of almost the world. So it's kind of an event to even go to anything there. So I think to just maintain that high level of attendance throughout an entire season, I'll be very interested to watch that. And that is a resolution for Atlanta. But
they will.
Do you think they will?
Oh yeah. That Atlanta miracle, I think, is here to stay. And period. My resolution for Atlanta United: achieve something on the field that reflects what they've done off the field. Atlanta went out at the first hurdle in the playoffs, and we shouldn't forget that. For all the plaudits they get, and we're talking about them on the show, and they sell out every game. They had some exciting moments, but you know what? The team still failed in the playoffs. So make some noise in the playoffs. Make a genuine challenge for MLS Cup, because the city and the fans deserve it.
This isn't in our rundown, but it kind of just hit me. A goal of MLS, I think, should be to maybe put a little more effort and into beefing up the U.S. Open Cup, Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, and a little more passion behind that tournament, because it really is a great tournament and one of, I think, the oldest in the United States, oldest sporting tournament in the United States.
It's the second oldest knockout competition in the world, behind the FA Cup.
So I think just drum up passion in that however you can. They've obviously, MLS and U.S. Soccer are great marketers, so let's put a little into the U.S. Open Cup and get some passion behind that. But moving to locally, the New England Revolution hire their new coach, Brad Friedel, big name. kind of moving in a new direction. We've talked about how their roster has stayed stagnant for a few years now, and their players just kind of get older and older, and nothing really changes. What's your resolution for the Revs to kind of move in a new direction?
A marquee signing. All these other MLS teams are, not all of them, but many other teams are buying players and signing players that are either young and dynamic, and they could be worth tens of millions of dollars in the future.
Yeah.
Or they're going after veterans who, have real names, big names like Bastian Schweinsteiger. Iker Casillas has been rumored to be coming to Chicago. I want the Revolution in that conversation just to have a little bit of buzz, a little bit more buzz around, some players that fans can get excited about and can garner attention both around the country and the world.
Yeah, when I think about the Revs, and you think about the whole MLS 1.0 and 2.0, and then Atlanta and maybe LAFC being like MLS 3.0. Mm-hmm. The Revs have sort of always stayed in that like 1.0, and I feel like they're at like 1.5, and they kind of like jump into 3.0 and catch up with the rest of MLS and stop just kind of staying as this stagnant team.
You think that can happen in 2018?
I think we can, make a step in the right direction. I think they have taken the first step with Brad Friedel. I think it was a great hire and a great name. And I'm going to make a point as a fan to make it down to at least a couple games this summer.
Oh, good.
Maybe do a show from there.
That'd be great.
That's the first time I've ever brought that up to you.
Yeah.
I think it could be cool.
I'm down.
Yeah. All right. So UEFA Champions League, the final is on May 26th.
Yep.
Our resolution for this, which I like, and I like it even more because what we'll say about the World Cup, but somebody other than Ronaldo or Messi to win this tournament. The biggest threat seems to be Manchester City, but also Paris Saint-Germain, maybe Bayern Munich. What's your resolution? What do you want to see in the Champions League knockout rounds?
On the knockout rounds, I don't want any, no funny business. I don't want anything that looks like a game could be fixed. Every year there's always something inexplicable that happens, and I'm just there shaking my head like UEFA. Something's whether it's a referee decision or
a crazy draw.
It raises suspicion. So I want a clean knockout round, no funny business, no dodgy refereeing. Just play it as it lies.
My resolution, I guess, goes to PSG and Neymar to, Neymar went to PSG to establish himself as his solo star, not within anybody else's shadow, and to reach another level of sort of soccer legendariness of the Messi-Ronaldo level.
Yeah.
Which I think he will take when they do ultimately wane off, although that would be a slow process.
Yeah.
But I think this is a great, the resolution for him is to jumpstart that by reaching the final and knocking off Messi or Ronaldo or both in the process.
He's going to have his first chance in the round of 16, PSG, Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That'll be a doozy.
So Manchester City is the biggest threat because of, or we think because of their dominance in Premier League and how they're running away with that league. Mm-hmm. They kind of seem to be doing everything at a higher level, not just having better players, but just all across the board. So that led us to our Premier League New Year's resolution, which you think is what?
Every team besides Manchester City needs to step their game up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about the big clubs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, right. The ones that have a realistic chance of, challenging for the title. I'm talking about your Arsenals, your Chelseas, your Manchester Uniteds, your Liverpools. They were all. Chelsea won the title last year. This started back when Leicester City won the title a couple seasons ago, where all the big teams were down. Chelsea stepped up in a big way last year. Everybody else was kind of at the same level between 2 and 5, 2 and 6. And then Manchester City just has blown everybody away
right.
In the last 6 months or so. Your Arsenals, your Chelseas, your Liverpools, your Manchester Uniteds are miles behind Manchester City right now, and they need to catch up, because I will accept one Premier League season where Manchester City runs away with the title.
You can't accept
Not
it.
two,
Well,
not three.
It's starting to look like, kind of like a French league where PSG just runs away with it, or
Exactly.
the Bundesliga where Bayern Munich runs away with it,
or Serie A, where
that's always been the appeal of the Premier League is how competitive it is,
right.
More so than any other European league. So to lose that, I think, is very bad for the league.
I think so too.
But England, as a whole, has had some trouble in international competitions of late. And that brings us to our final...
Of late, like the last 30 years, or the last...
That brings us to our final New Year's resolution, the 2018 World Cup.
Yes.
What we want to see out of this tournament. And I start with England to kind of put it all together, not having any sort of embarrassment, lose to Iceland sort of thing.
Yeah.
And not only advance out of the group, but win a knockout round match, reach the quarterfinal. That is their goal resolution of the 2018 World Cup. I think they're capable. I think they're talented enough. They did well in qualifying. That's what I'm looking to see most at the World Cup. And we've talked about who we're cheering for, what our rooting interests are when watching the 2018 World Cup. That'll be mine, in addition to, I guess, Argentina and Portugal, watching those two countries. Yeah.
I have a resolution for FIFA.
Yeah.
Try FIFA. Just try and make it look like you're doing the right thing. The World Anti-Doping Agency has given them information on Russian doping.
Yeah.
And you know what FIFA has done with that information?
What?
You stick it in a drawer and just sit on it.
Right.
Ethics chiefs, ethics investigators have been fired from FIFA. The FIFA scandal was just 3 years ago, and they came out with we want to do things ethically and transparently
Nothing has
and
really
things like
changed
that.
about FIFA.
And yeah, it's not looking like much has changed with FIFA. So just try. I mean, lie to us, FIFA. Just make it look like you're trying to do the right thing. If not in every case, in a couple cases. I mean,
yeah.
Give us something.
Right. I'm on board with that. And so in Champions League, we said we want somebody not named Messi or Ronaldo to win the competition.
Right.
In the World Cup, we want somebody named Messi or Ronaldo to win the competition.
Yeah.
I think Argentina probably has the better shot at doing that. But what concerns me and what I guess
It's tough. Portugal's the European champion.
Yeah, but they sort of you think back on the Euros and you're just like, how the hell did they make it through?
Just grind it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, survival of the fittest.
But what concerns me about Argentina is just all the federation issues that seem to be going on there. It's not just like, oh, there's corruption and people getting money that shouldn't be getting it.
Argentina's federation is still in disarray,
Yeah.
and that will cost them big time at the World Cup because,
Well,
there are basic things that players of that level, your Lionel Messi's, your Sergio Aguero's, your Javier Mascherano, Higuain, these guys play at clubs where everything is run perfectly. So all they have to focus on is preparing for and playing games. Now, when you go back to your national team, and the hotels aren't right, the practice facilities are miles away. You have to take a 2-hour bus ride.
Yeah, it's just
these
it throws
are
everything out of whack.
It does, yeah.
And it's like we're not saying,
and it affects your results on the field every time.
And it's hard to say. It sounds like, oh, these pro athletes are spoiled or whatever. It's not really that. It's just you become used to certain things, and then you fit that into your routine, of your preparation for how you play, and it just gets all thrown off. And playing for the national team is out of whack in the first place, no matter how professionally run it is.
Right.
Because you come in and you're together for like a 10-day period at most. And like the World Cup or the Euros or the Copa America, then you're together for, say, 4 weeks, and that's the longest you'll ever be like with your national team in a single amount of time.
Correct.
So you need to like literally maximize every hour of your team being together to just make it as easy as possible for them.
Yeah.
And I think Argentina's soccer federation, I think, is as much to blame, or I hope, like when it's all said and done, if Messi is unable to win this World Cup, which it's who knows who's going to win, and maybe that's the last major competition he plays in. I hope people don't hold it against Messi, and they sort of remember how out of whack Argentina's federation was, and that really they are as much to blame as any of the players for not having won any trophies during the Messi era.
Except for Higuain, who misses chances in finals routinely. But they picked him, so.
Yeah.
I have one last World Cup resolution. In 2014, the group stage was fire, all right? It was one of the greatest spectacles this world has ever seen.
Yeah.
And when the knockout rounds came, everybody just closed up shop, and the soccer became dull and boring.
Yeah.
I did a little napkin bracket on after the World Cup draw, and I'm thinking, I guess this is more of a prediction than a resolution, that dynamic will be flipped in 2018.
That sounds great.
Where the group stage will be ho-hum, and then the knockout rounds will be incredible.
I hope you're right.
Me too.
But regardless, I think it's going to be a great year in soccer in 2018. As I said, our resolution is to continue this show every week, bringing you the latest soccer news. I think we do the best we can, and we'll continue to. But thanks for joining us this week. Catch us again next week and every week after that. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.